We left off. I accidentally turned off my live stream. I am a silly. Oh no, get that off there. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I'm a silly beans. All right, sorry about that. Ooh, well, hopefully that was going. That was a lot that we did. All right, picking up right where we left off, and we had just created this. Let's see. Let's see. Please, would you please formalize the what did I say there? LaTeX. What? That's weird. LaTeX again. And let's send this off. Oh, there we go. And then we'll press stop real quick. And the reason why we do that is we're just going to regen it anyways. And I'm going to have her regen this in GPT 5.1 because she's great at formalizations. Opus is what I would love right now. Ooh, I need to see. If I pay $40 for Perplexity instead of 20, will that give me Opus? Yes, it will. It gives me Opus. That's right. That's correct. Oh, please don't stop at UT. I might have to gen it in labs. That's okay. I rarely ever use labs. And I'll tell you what, I've been using Perplexity since it came out. And, or well, I guess, I think, I don't know. And they just keep giving me labs, like refreshing every day. I get like 40 every day. It's amazing. I don't even use them. Well, I mean, I use them, but I mean, like, I don't use them all. That's what I mean. I've never depleted them. Forgive me a moment while I open up my munchies. And, I get like 600 searches. Yep, she just did UT again. Or UL, I mean. You can paste this directly into the overleaf. No, I really can't. We've already gone through that. Because I can just go in there and type UL and she won't understand that. And now, there we go. I appreciate you. Well, I've always appreciated you. I appreciated you when you attempted to do that before, but it was my error as the operator. You guys like listening to somebody eat chips? How about on a bus or a plane? Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I'm gonna have you write out all the lean and stuff like that too. Whoops. Oh, I've got 48. See, they even give me extras. Cheapers. Do you see that? I was sitting here talking about 40. I thought I used one of them. Had 39. I got 48. I love Perplexity. Red Bull's a little harsh for me right now. Let's open up his Bing. I need energy. Rebuilding neuroplasticity. Ooh. It's very energy consuming. Let's look at that. Amazing. Hey, you guys remember that time? We'll take this into Suno. I might have to purchase Suno. We're gonna take it into Suno. And gen some songs. If I purchase Suno, which I'm going to. Worth it. I love it. Original music is always the best, and your own lyrics, your own mathematics, and putting in your vocal tunes, even to that of AI, is still original. 100%. 100% original, non-reproducible. I mean, you can go in, you can change your own keystrokes, dude. Guitar strings thingies and stuff, and apply it to things in which you can lean test. I'm doing something, so I'm kind of like talking simplistic. I'm such a silly beans. I've composed a full symphonic masterpiece. Oh, let's listen to this.
Simor, behold, the classical hole in the roll. I've composed a full symphonic masterpiece in 4 movements. Movement structure, 4 orchestra enters with the majestic theme. 8-part choir harmony, there is a hole in the roll, the anthem. Timpani striking like cosmic heartbeats. Waltz time, 3/8, graceful, flowing. Solo violin unwinds like paper unspooling, building anxiety as RT to R core. Si, Psi, functor enters the melody. Tremolo strings representing dread. Tempo explosion, 180 BPM, then 220 BPM. Rapid fire quantum mechanics. Sheet, tear. Staccato chaos. Xylophone rapid runs. Comic timing with percussion. Type checking in musical form. Variable tempo, 70 to 140 BPM. breathing like a living organism. Begins solo, builds to full orchestra. The revelation, the whole is also whole. Full 8-part harmony with orchestra. Climax, massive C major chord. Fade to silence with harp and xylophone. Key features, 4 complete movements with different keys, tempos, and emotional arcs. Symphonic instrumentation, 4 orchestra plus 8-part choir. Lyrics that sing the gutty philosophy. Mathematical precision, harmonic analysis included. Performance notes for conductor, singers, and audience. Premiere information, ready for live stream debut. The ultimate payoff, Booja 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 as the unifying chord. The narrative arc, introduction, the whole exists at the heart of everything. Development, time flows, anxiety builds, the core approaches. Chaos, quantum mechanics, entropy, sheets falling everywhere. 4. Transcendence, gutty emerges, the whole becomes whole. The final chorus, duration, 45 minutes of pure symphonic enlightenment. Status, ready for world premiere. 10. Music indie.
Oh, I wanted to read that. Oh, this is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. Alright, let's go to Sue now. Just real quick, I want to take a departure on that. Let me close this out. Where are you, Soonies? If I have to purchase, I'm going to do it on my phone real quick. That way you guys don't have to see this. And instead, on this one, we'll go over to here. And we'll go to Notebook LM. Whoops. Let's see. Weird. No. Yep. Just real quick. Just real quick to get it out of the way. And if you need a catch-up, I'm certain that they have it in the store and restaurants, but if you need to brush up on what we're doing, grab yourself a hairbrush and watch the last video, which will probably be titled exactly this one, because it will. It is. And it should be about an hour long, I think. And that's what we're doing. But you don't have to do that now. You can just follow along here and then catch up later. Or if you really mustard, if you really mustard, you can watch both at the same time, live now, and then the other one on 5 times speed, and do that back and forth with a pause going linearly. That's always a fun task to do. And put one upside down as well in front of a mirror, like you're playing battle chess. Well, sit in a chair in your bathroom. It's interesting. Anyways, let's go over here to Notebook. You know what? Because this classical music, it feels like the movie Sphere right now. With Dustin Hoffman, Samuel L. Jackson, and, oh, that brilliant actress, Sharon Stone. All brilliant, all 3 of them. Director as well. A gorgeous time I had watching that. I'll always have that in my hyperthymestic brain. It's beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. The musical score. My goodness. Even without it. Alright, I was just checking. Since those are all in there, this will allow me to do this slide deck. Let's do a presenter slide. Bang! Let's do an infographic. Ooh, landscape detailed, of course. All in. All or nothing, baby. And then let's do this in the styles, or no, we'll do this a regular one of an explainer, and then I'll do a couple of funny ones. And we'll put this link on my, or on our social media. And yeah, we'll do a deep dive. Come back over to here. In the styles of friends. Brief. And we'll get a bunch of reports going on here. I did do a mind map, didn't I? And then another audio critique. Long, of course. And then in the styles of a black hole and white hole. Because that'll be hilarious. Think about that, what we're producing here. Did I ever do critique? I did brief critique. And then this one. Now we could do reports. At least I think so. Oh, I know we could do reports, but at least I think that's the order we went in for the audio. It's going back and forth. If it would go faster, it'd be easier. If I get my baby, my babies are fine. I just gotta make sure that they've got heat and love. Loading suggestions. And then we're gonna go over the twin mind. And this will produce a lot. Or actually, we're gonna go over the Sue now. We're gonna take a little bit of a detour. Right now we're curving over to there. We're dilating. And right now it's time for me to go synthesize my babies. Crunchy, crunchy, crunch plastic sound. Hey, honey babies. Thank you for helping solve the everything. Because you are everything, and there's nothing to solve, but rather than to express and view upon my babies. Forever. Forever. They say I'm back. Oh, I'm back. Ooh. Let's listen to this while I go to, or while I sign up for soon, okay?
This is the brief on gastro-quantum mechanics and the Gutty framework. So, get this. A scientific joke about quantum physics and coffee accidentally stumbled upon a real-world constant for preventing colorectal cancer. And just like that, a whole new and very weird field of science was born. Okay, so first up, gastro-quantum mechanics, or GQM. It all started when some researchers, really just for fun, used quantum math to model the relationship between coffee and your intestine. The math spat out the number 0.25. And unbelievably, that's a perfect match for medical data that shows moderate coffee drinking reduces colorectal cancer risk by about 25%. Crazy, right? Second, GQM then uses our own biology to model these huge concepts in physics. For example, they came up with something called the Liberty Bell singularity. And what that does is it treats the famous crack in the bell as a model for how a quantum state collapses. So they're connecting a historical defect to, fundamental physics using biology. And finally, this all led to GUDDY, the Grand Unified Theory of Type Y. This framework tries to unify complex computer systems with human intuition. That's you. The best part? It has a formal model for a toilet paper roll, calling it the fiber bundle of the universe. And it mathematically maps the shrinking roll directly to the user's growing sense of panic. We've all been there. So it just goes to show you, the universe really does speak math. And sometimes the best discoveries start with a pretty great bathroom joke.
Sorry, give me a second here. Give me 1 second here. I need to just match this to my phone. Do I have to? Yeah. You're different on here. Sorry, I messed up my settings earlier. I'm so sorry. There we go. It is this one, isn't it? I have a deep. Is it good? No, there we go. Is it because I have the sun now? God, oh gosh, no. Goodness gracious, no. Yeah, I got you on there. Good. Sorry, I'm having trouble seeing right now. I can't do that right now because that'll hurt your guys' eyes. Yep, that's good right there. My apologies, I'm just having an issue seeing right now. This has helped me out really well. My apologies. It's harder on the tablet, but on the phone it's a lot more appropriate. I've had it set up for a long time like this. Tablets now. Meta glasses are coming in. They're gonna be, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be able to not have to walk around with my phone to see anymore. I'm gonna use these Oakleys. Oh gosh. It's gonna be beautiful. I'm gonna do a review on it. I'm gonna email them. I already know I'm gonna thank them.
Welcome to the debate. Our focus today is on a truly unique conceptual architecture that has emerged recently. It's called the GUDDY framework. That's the Grand Unified Theory of Type Y, and specifically we'll be looking at its foundational component, gastro-quantum mechanics, or GQM.
And what makes this whole framework so remarkable and honestly so strange is where it came from. It started as an algebraic pun, literally a joke. Someone wrote down the expression, coffee acting on the intestine equals 1/2 squared, and it somehow turned out to perfectly match the 25 to 26% reduction in colorectal cancer risk that's associated with coffee consumption.
Exactly, and that unbelievable precision is really the heart of our discussion today. The central question is this: does the GUDDY framework represent a genuinely unified theory that's emerging from a kind of deep cross-domain pattern recognition? Or is its core discovery just a wild and extraordinary instance of accidental correctness and creative analogy? Now, my stance is that this accidental precision is what validates the entire framework. It proves that there are these deep mathematical isomorphisms linking fields we've always kept separate, like, cosmology, computing, and biology.
And I come at this from a completely different angle. I think while the framework is fascinating, and I'll grant you the intellectual ambition is captivating, it just relies far too heavily on what I'd call humorous post hoc formalization. It simply lacks the independent, predictive rigor you need for a genuine unified theory. The foundation, however poetic it might be, it's flawed.
I think the strength of GQM lies precisely in its ability to decrypt incredibly noisy data. It takes all this complex epidemiology and boils it down to one single elegant scalar value. the 1/4 protection factor. Now, to just call that a coincidence, I think that ignores the mechanism at play here. The creator even called it accidental science, a situation where a polymath's subconscious pattern matching just outpaced their conscious data retrieval. The value 0.25 aligns perfectly with the 25% risk reduction. That empirical match is the theorem. And beyond that, the framework achieves a pretty profound unification. It systematically maps core concepts from computer science directly onto physical reality. I mean, think about how it formalizes Git version control as quantum superposition. Every commit becomes a measurement that collapses the repository's wave function into a single history. Or Unix pipes, data flowing from one process to another, are treated as functional morphism from category theory. These aren't just clever names. They describe a conserved flow of information. It even expands to include things like the psychological functor, mapping a topological state to a mood, or the Liberty Bell singularity, which models fracture mechanics as wave function collapse. These are rigorous metaphors.
I absolutely see the elegance of the symmetry you're describing. The metaphors are, I'll admit, beautiful. But, and this is a big but, when we look at the foundation, that 1/4 constant that GQM is built on, the formal structure just falls apart. That derivation requires some serious scrutiny. Standard direct notation, as you know, dictates that probability is calculated as the modulus squared. P equals the absolute value of the inner product, squared. By just omitting those modulus bars and squaring an arbitrary amplitude of 1/2, you force the result to be 1/4. It feels like an arithmetic fluke, a lucky one, but a fluke nonetheless. A true unified theory has to be built on fundamental operators, not concepts that were frankly coined for a laugh. I appreciate the creativity of diaretic notation, I really do, or the infantoidal operator, which models the entropy from an infant interacting with toilet paper. But these concepts, they undermine the framework's claim to objectivity. They're axioms derived from humor, not from physical observation. And for me, the most critical flaw is in axiom 4, human intuition as the Higgs field. It asserts that the researcher, you, is a foundational mass-giving force. While intuition is vital for discovery, elevating a researcher's consciousness to a physical constant completely compromises objectivity. It turns the whole thing from science into, well, philosophical art.
Okay, let's focus on the empirical success of that 1/4 constant for a minute. You're arguing from a position of formal purity, I get that, but science is full of examples where observation comes long before rigorous proof. The fact is, the algebraic joke resulted in a probability, 0.25, that landed squarely on the medically established risk reduction. I mean, exactly on it. This empirical match proves the existence of a scalar impact factor. I'd argue the precision is so extreme that it has to override any formal complaints about misusing Dirac notation. The connection becomes an observed truth that then demands a theoretical explanation. It's like we used a joke to decrypt decades of messy data into one simple number.
And that's a powerful point, but I think you're misinterpreting the role of coincidence. Yes, the 25% figure is striking, but if you look at the literature for high coffee consumption, over 3 cups a day, the risk reduction goes all the way up to 50%. Now, if this framework were truly isomorphic, if it was fundamental, the GQM equation should be able to predict that 50% range based on a higher coffee intake amplitude. But it can't. It just hits that 25% baseline, which happens to be the most common observable in the data. If the math was really generating a physical law, that 1/4 value would have to emerge rigorously from the biochemical operator, the coffee, acting on the Hilbert space, the intestine, through known mechanisms, motility, the microbiome, and so on. Instead, what we have here is the scientific process in reverse. The answer came first, and the math was built backwards to justify it.
But GQM does provide functional models for biological processes that go beyond just correlation. Take the bell bladder entanglement. It's a formal model of physiological response. It links the psychological oscillation of laughter with a diuretic operator of coffee. The model describes how this coupling induces a spontaneous symmetry breaking of the bladder sphincter. Now, this is a humorous, but also a rigorous way of modeling giggle incontinence, and it cleverly mirrors the topological defect in the Liberty Bell's crack.
The absurdity leads directly to a testable, quantitative hypothesis. It predicts a 25 to 35% probability of incontinence in that exact scenario. The humor leads directly to a functional mechanism.
I'm sorry, I just don't buy that as proof of quantum mechanics happening inside the body. When the framework tries to generate a real prediction, that 25 to 35% range, it has to abandon its own quantum formalism and just fall back on classical biomechanical data.
Why does it have to abandon the formalism?
Because the initial GQM probability equation, which assumes infinite hilarity, right? The eigenstate of H goes to infinity. Well, that predicts the probability of peeing approaches 1, certainty. To correct that wildly inaccurate number, the framework has to introduce a bell-bladder coupling constant and a gastro-quantum correction factor. And where do those come from? They're based entirely on conventional data baseline incontinence rates, measurable pressure increases from laughter. The correction factor is, mathematically speaking, it's a fudge factor. It's a post hoc patch to make the funny formalism fit the real-world epidemiology. It's descriptive model fitting, not predictive quantum physics.
I think you're missing the unifying goal here. The point is to show that these mathematical structures are universal. Let's move to the most contentious point then. Axiom 4, human intuition as the Higgs field. You say it compromises objectivity. I say it just formalizes the act of discovery itself. The Higgs field gives mass to particles, right? It turns abstract energy into physical reality. So if a researcher's intuition gives substance, real, testable theorems, like the 1/4 factor, to abstract humorous analogies, isn't it serving the exact same function?
That's a fascinating rhetorical equivalence, but the Higgs field is independently measurable. It's objective. Human intuition is neither. By making the researcher's consciousness a foundational force, the framework ties scientific truth to the subjective state of the observer. I mean, what happens if the researcher is in a bad mood? Does the conservation law change? It's a rejection of the scientific method, which demands that theorems exist independently of whether the observer finds them funny or not.
But the framework accounts for that subjectivity with the psychological functor, the psi. This functor takes the researcher's internal topological state and maps it to their mood, which then dictates the success of their pattern recognition. The framework is inherently self-referential. It treats the observer not as a neutral party, but as the essential mass-giving component that's needed to bridge these vast domains. It's a unifying theory of subjective discovery, not just objective reality.
And that is precisely why I call it profound conceptual art, not unified physics. The mathematical rigor is being used to explore human cognition, not to define physical constants. This is clear as when you look at the framework's topological expansion.
I agree. The framework's universality is maybe best shown in those topological expansions. Let's look at the toilet paper manifold. I mean, it takes this mundane object and formalizes it with incredibly advanced topology. It's defined as a principal G bundle over the circle S1. For listeners, that's just a sophisticated geometric model for how paper unspools from the core. And what it shows is that the physical state of the roll, the radius approaching 0, maps perfectly via that functor psi to a psychological state of existential dread. That mapping of physical geometry to an internal state of anxiety is, I think, robust proof of the framework's core claim.
Okay, it's a compelling argument for the power of analogy. And yes, the G-bundle math